If you've ever opened a project and not known where to start, or if you jump back into a project and it just seems overwhelming, well, this video is for you. I developed a workflow that helped me figure out whether the story that I'm telling is the right one. It's called a story cut. In this video, I'm going to show you what it is, how to use it, and why it saved us countless hours. The problem is most people edit chunk by chunk. They find a chunk of the story that they like, they slap B-roll, music, and maybe some sound effects over it, and then they edit the next chunk. The problem comes is you're committing hours and hours of work before even knowing whether it will fit together. And I was guilty of this. And I got tired of when clients gave feedback and I had to move big parts of my story that it just took so long. And then by the time I had done that, not knowing whether it would work. Now, there's nothing wrong with editing this way, but I'd like to give you an alternative. Now, the story cut isn't anything new. Professional editors have been using this for years, long before I had a career in this industry. But this is the version of it that works for me. And this is the process and workflow that I've developed over my 10 years in this industry. The workflow looks like this: clean, mark, label, build, and validate. So the cleanup, this is the first thing that we do. And we're simply just trying to remove all the ums, all those pauses, anything that someone says that we know that we can't use or won't use. We do this by simply deleting all those different sections. We're really just trying to make sure that the only things that we have on our timeline is usable. Now, once we've done this, we label this timeline our comments timeline. This is here to store information about our story, not where we actually create our story. That's something that we do later down in the process. But now that we have all the usable footage, we need to mark what's actually good. For this, we use the label feature and use colors to identify which clips are good, are great, and the rest. We've got these mounted to hotkeys so we can quickly mark things. And the reason why we do this is when we take a bird's eye view of our whole timeline, we're able to quickly identify where all of our good clips are, where all of our great clips are, and then where all the other parts are that we may or may not use throughout our edit. But now that we can see what's good and great at a glance, we need to be able to see what's in it. And that's what brings me on to the next section, which is labeling. We're really just trying to identify what's in some of these sections of clips. What we're using to label here is actually our adjustment layers that we're just renaming for what we want them to say. Some common tags that I'll use is this is our why or our intro, or we could also use key theme words here. And we're not trying to do this for each of our clips. We're just trying to identify the different sections that these will lay in. For much more simpler edits where the edit might be based around a question, we'll just simply put the question that was read, and maybe we might put another adjustment layer above that maybe says something about what was said in that section. But really, this is where you try to make this process your own. It's not about copying exactly what we do, but instead taking what you think works for you and making it work for what works with your workflow. Now, already I know a lot of you are saying this feels like a lot of time to put into a video. Where am I getting the time savings? I feel like I'm using all my time here. There was one time I was editing a short doc that was about 16 minutes. And I just felt like I got stuck. I wasn't sure what was missing, what was wrong with it, but I just knew the overall story that I was trying to tell. So I actually ended up handing over this edit to someone else. And actually, after spending months, I'm talking months on this edit, someone was actually able to come back to me within a couple of days and have the edit completely finished. And that just shows you the power of being able to have stuff organized, have stuff categorized and labeled correctly, and how someone who hasn't seen this project before can take it and be able to complete it for you. And that's really the power of this system. When you start to expand, if you do decide to expand, or if you're a YouTuber and you decide to use an editor, that they're able to take your notes without too much explanation and be able to go through it and find what's good and be able to deliver that and be at the same place that you were in the edit, but just with a fresher mind. If you're getting value from this so far, hit the like button. It helps me know that you like workflow videos like this, whether it's for editing or production. And now it's time to see if a story actually exists. And this is the beauty in this system, is that once we come to build our story, it's actually quite easy to do. There are two main ways that we do this. But first, it's time to create a new timeline. We want to keep one timeline as our comments timeline and one timeline as our main editing timeline. That makes sure that we're able to keep all the hard work that we did on the comments timeline and start to pull over what we need over to the main timeline. The first and most obvious way to start to build your story is to just copy and paste everything from your comments into your main timeline and then delete everything that isn't good or great. This will give you a great foundation to start with, and usually, especially with less complex and more simple edits, I find that you'll only need to add in one more section from your interview in order to fill this out. The second, and this probably works with more complex edits, if you've labeled things as ending clips or intro clips, you might want to start there. You might want to pull in key themes and categorize like that, or if you are doing a more question-based video, then pull in the question. But this makes this process much simpler because you're able to keep key core themes together as you tell your story. From there, you just go around your usual edit. You don't add B-roll, don't add music. What we're trying to do is make sure that our story makes sense. And you know when you're in the right place because that story cut should feel complete. You should be able to hear the music that you think that you're going to be putting in. You should be able to see the B-roll that you've already shot over all these clips without even putting them in place. It should have a natural feel and rhythm. I even like to leave gaps in between where I think I might have quieter portions of the video or where I think I might have clips that would fit in there, such as Nat Sot. I really try to make it feel like the complete edit in terms of the flow of what that video will feel like. And once you've done that, you're almost at the end of a story cut. What we need to do next is validate. And this can be done in a multitude of ways. You can, one, watch it through yourself and make sure that it makes sense as a whole and it feels good. The second is you can pass it off to a friend and see if they can understand your story that you're trying to tell. And the third, and this is something that we use not all the time, but with our trusted clients, is often we'll give them a view of what the story cut looks like without the B-roll. And this is more for the trusted clients that you know understand that this isn't the final product and that you aren't missing all the B-roll and sound and music. This is the point where you're trying to make sure that the story you're trying to tell is the right one. If not, then we just repeat that process. Check back, look through our clips, and then start to jigsaw the stuff around. And once we've got that, we can start to add music, we can start to add B-roll, we can start to really clean up our timeline. You know, the biggest editing lesson that I've learned over my 10 years editing isn't a Premiere shortcut. It's that your video should be good at a story level first. Because if your video doesn't work without B-roll, well, it probably won't work with it either. I'd really love to know if this insight into my process was helpful for you at all. If it was and you'd like more videos like this, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.